Here's a quick checklist to ensure you have success in 2024 with your Amazon business. If you have not already done planning like this, do set it up today because this is where you're going to get the most results. Okay, so plan for success 2024. So here's the cheat sheet here. The first one here is using the OKR Tracker. So Daniel has created this, and I'm going to open this up because this is the basis. If you've heard of objectives and key results, then you'll know what this is. If not, there's a video here Daniel has created whereby we've got the tracker here and the learning, etc. So that is here. The next one we have got is the yearly. So when we're setting up the OKR tracker, you want to look at last year's metrics. If you have no data here, it's a little bit more difficult. It's kind of how you would say it. It's not on a scale, it's 0 to 1. So in a 0 to 1 situation, if you were starting on Amazon, then you just have to put something down and what you think is possible. However, if you have been selling for more than, let's say, 1 or 2 years, best to review data that you already have. Review sales metrics, review it monthly, but also quarterly as well, because sometimes monthly targets are not so good and sometimes quarterly is a lot better, particularly if you have seasonal products, because there's certain quarters that are going to be way more beneficial to your business. So for example, in one of my brands, a lot of the sales go through in the summertime, and in Christmas, as would be with most people at Christmas peak. But that means that we as a team have to build our plans around that. In reality, if we do 3 or 4x the volume in those in those quarters, then we've got to really plan to we've got to prepare for those quarters specifically. So what I would do in this instance is I would set obviously an annual target. So this might be, as Daniel listed out, we're becoming the best selling brand in the category, grow sales from 50 to 150K. And then initiatives that are based on this to hit that. Now, once you've set this up, I would maybe remove these unless you have, unless you're 7 figures or more, or you have a large team. I would probably remove the 2 of these on the yearly. Now, Daniel might argue otherwise, but I would. I like simplicity. So on the yearly, I would keep it very simple. However, when we come into the Q1 OKRs, what I would do here is, again, depending on your setup, if you've got, say, 10 employees plus and you've got leaders in your team, then maybe it makes sense to have separate sections here. If it is just you and maybe a few assistants or a couple of employees, it probably doesn't make sense to have multiple here. So I would simply cut this here and use the one. And what I would do in this is I would change So for yearly, what I could do here is write Q1. I'm going to remove this after. Give me 1 second. I'm going to write here, objective aspirational. Okay, so this is where that would change. So this one might say achieve, launch new SKUs and prep for record Q2. Okay, so this would be the goal for Q1. Launch new SKUs and prep for Q2, and then all of the key results and initiatives that are in line with that. Then we'd come into Q2, and I would set, let's assume it was similar to one of my brands, I would set a sales target based on this. So I would say achieve, Daniel's going to go crazy for me editing this doc, but I will reverse the changes, Daniel, if you're watching. Achieve, let's say 500K, okay? 500K, whoops, in revenue in Q2. So this is Q2, okay? So that's that. Q3 maybe is a little bit less. Maybe it's, so I'm going to base this off similar to what we've got in clients on my account. So expand, oop, I don't know what's going on there. So I'm going to write expand. I'm going to try and write expand here if it lets me. Expand to DE and let's say ES. Expand to DE, IT, ES, marketplaces, and prep. Now you can put a target on this. If you obviously want to put a sales target on it, you can. I'm pretty sure I have one for each of them, but as I said, the main ones here would be Q2, at least looking at my company and clients, or my company, Q2 and Q4, prep for Q4, okay. And then what I would do is, in this one, then I would go achieve record Q4 of, let's just say 750k sales. Okay, so this is the way I'd set it up. And this, to me, once you've got the roadmap set up and you're like, well, this is what I would like to achieve in numbers, then it's a case of reverse engineering rather than kind of just going into the year and like letting it just happen. You've got to really architect the results, but you've got to have a direction. As one of the quotes, I'm not sure who it is, it Seneca, but a ship without a destination, no wind is favorable, you know, like as in you've got to know your destination, so then you can pick up the wins and start gathering momentum towards it. So if you've still not got the targets down, this will be a big win. If you're enjoying the video, make sure you hit the like button below. Now back to business. Okay, so once you've looked at your sales data, so we've went into business reports, we've looked at last year, we've looked at the overall, let's say we done 1.5 mil in 2023. We want to do 2 mil in 2024. So then you're reverse engineering. What does that look like? That's 750k in Q4, that's 500k in Q2, and then where does that leave us? That might leave about 367k, 0.5, if my maths is right, someone can tell me. 367k in each of Q1 and Q3. So a little bit different approach. They might be the quarters that I would do the iterations, the launches, to improve the packaging, the launch in marketplaces, the new products. But then it's a case of really settling into a rhythm for your peak months and peak quarters. You don't want to be really shaking the tree too much in those quarters. You want to be getting the sales, ensuring stock, etc. So this is what I would do. And I hope this makes sense. And then you're obviously attributing your key results that are going to make this, you know. So coming back in here, so that's what I said, reviewing last year's metrics, monthly and quarterly, business reports if you have data, set quarterly targets, core products and then new products. So this is a key thing as well, because I see in many accounts, many businesses, that people will kind of set one target, as in they'll set one sales target and even one profitability target. However, if you have been selling for any length of time, you've really got to break down the core of your business. So let's assume you've got 20 products, right, and they're driving you, as I said, let's do the example, 1.5 million in revenue last year, but you plan on launching 7 more products in 2024. If you are looking at your profitability, if you're looking at your financial forecasts, if you're looking at your sales, what I would do is break them up. So I would have the core of the business. So use a tool where you can basically add portfolios to your products. The core of the business, what are our targets for that? What are our targets for sales? What are our targets for profitability with the core of the business? And then with the new launches, then what are our targets for that? Because they're going to be very different, right? They're not going to be the same. With new launches, you obviously got to spend some money in ads, you've got to work on the content, you've got to iterate it, and over time, then those will become profitable. But that can be over time. What people tend to do, and I've done in the past, is you try and bunch it all together and you're not really looking at the core of the business. The core of the business doesn't get the focus it needs to, which is a big emphasis on for us this year. But yeah, you spend all your time in the new products, which are not driving profitability yet. It takes time. Okay? So I seen on Twitter the other day as well, someone talking about garlic press. I can't remember the name of the guy, but if you search on Twitter, you'll find it. But one guy took 11 months to get profitability in the garlic press niche. And obviously that's one of those niches with crazy amounts of traffic that everyone uses as examples on Amazon, kind of like the spatula one as well, you know. But it took 11 months to get profitability. Now I've never had a product take 11 months. I've had a product take a few months, but those are competitive ones. Having a clear plan there is important. Anyway, I digress. So core to business, target, sales, profitability, etc. Iterations, launches, packaging, new launches, R&D, separate. you're happy, you can make a loss, you can break even, you can make small profit on this side, but in the core, you want to be making strides. Do not neglect the core of the business. Okay, so this is a key distinction. I hope that makes sense. So planning new launches in the quarterlies, looking at your financial forecast, making sure you have enough space, financial space, what I call it, in order to do those launches, but also to sustain those new launches as well. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below for future videos. Now back to business. Planning key hires. Okay, look, we've looked at the quarters, we've looked at the sales revenue, we've looked at the new products. If we launch 7 new products and we go from 20 to 27, do we need new employees? Do we need inventory planning? Do we need more support? It kind of depends on the products, because if you're launching 7 new products for 3 new brands, then of course you're going to need help, graphic design, branding, etc. If it's 7 products that are the same, maybe you don't need help, or are the same as your existing products, maybe you don't need help. So again, it's going to come down to your situation, but planning key hires ahead of time is important. So the idea being here is you anticipate, don't improvise, anticipate this, The next one here we've got is marketplace expansion. Yes, look, marketplace expansion is one of the absolute key ways to grow in your business. I've seen people double their profit, triple their profit. We've helped clients launch in multiple marketplaces, and sometimes the other marketplaces are just not as competitive, and it's easy profit. But I see many people not too focused on what their one marketplace is doing and not looking elsewhere, where this can be key. We've seen this work time and time again. So planning marketplace expansion, also awesome. There might be some other things you're planning in here as well. But that's that. The next one here, annually, expanding credit facilities. You might have an overdraft with your bank. You might have a credit card. You might have a loan. So what I would do, and what I do is I'll ring them up and I expand the credit facilities. If you have a shipper that's giving you credit, can you get more credit? We have 25k with Freightos. Can you give us 30k? Can you give us 35k? Each year they will be open to expanding it, and therefore it will make a big difference to your cash flow. If you've got an overdraft that you've been using quite regularly, or a credit card, ring up the bank, ask them to reduce the rate. We've used this extensively last year. Can we get a rate reduction? And basically push them. If they say no, maybe I'm actually looking at changing my credit card company, and then they will give you something, rest assured. So yeah, these can be key things as far as your planning, expanding your credit facilities so you have more options there as far as cash flow, but also then reducing your rates as well, so that you are not paying money you just do not have to, you do not have to. Okay, so after you've done this, one thing to do then is talk to your key leaders in your company, review your targets. We're all not perfect. So if you have key employees there that you can run this plan by, if you can empower them to come up with obviously the targets themselves, so the objectives on the quarter and the year, have them have their opinion, get their buy-in on that. Ask them, is it possible? Because they've got to feel a part of the plan as well. But then also empower them to come up with key results that could potentially meet that too. So I like having, I'll obviously come up with some and try and guide the overall targets, but I really encourage the team, whether that's a support manager, marketing execs, or a supply chain manager, key on Amazon, asking them what do they think. Is there other things we can do here? What makes sense to them? Because if they come up with the plan, they're going to be a lot more bought into it and invested in it, and there's a lot more chance of succeeding versus just telling them what the plan is, giving the tasks. I don't like managing that way. I don't like leading that way. But that is, again, comes down to personal preference. So empower your team. The next one here is deliver a presentation to the team as well. So present it to them. I mean, that doesn't necessarily need a slide deck. I've done slide decks, or I do slide decks from time to time. But show the seriousness of it. Show the effort behind it, the nuance behind it. At the very least, present the tracker itself. So come in here on a meeting and present the tracker itself after you've individually talked to the team first. That's the best way to get everyone bought in, and then present it to everyone, rather than like just creating it and then presenting it where just they have kind of no choice, because that's the buy-in, the investment from the team will not be high then. So yeah, talk individually and then deliver it to the team, and then finally go get them. So yeah, look, it's exciting time. I always say to people, I work kind of from Christmas to New Year's most times. and I love planning. I love it. You know, it's you spend a lot of your firefighting, whereas when it comes to planning, it's a time to go, well, actually, not what can go wrong, but what could go right. What's possible, and that's something that speaks to the core of me. What's possible, what can be done. Really exciting time, good energy, and something that I know you will take great joy in as well. One other thing I will add, just very briefly, for planning like this, what I like to do is change my environment as well. I do not like working in cafes. In fact, I never have, because people would just annoy me in cafes, walking past, etc. However, so I work in my office, but when it comes to planning, I find that it actually helps to get outside. Maybe walk on a beach, maybe sit in a cafe with a journal and kind of write these things down. If you have employees near you, going for a walk with them is different energy than kind of sitting down and having a meeting, having a walking meeting, running the targets by them. Do things that suit you, that will get the best out of you. Sometimes you need to change your environment, change your energy, and then you can do effective planning like this. So go get them.
If you like this video, make sure you check out this video here, which goes through our 2-step process to have a successful product launch on Amazon.